In this video, I'm going to be answering various questions, some about interview and career topics, and some about life in general, as some sort of a 1,000 subscriber milestone, because that's what people do on YouTube. So yeah, first and foremost, thank you so much if you have subscribed to this channel. 1,000 subs, I know it's not a lot, I know it's not a big number by any measure, but it's a pretty big milestone for me because I started off this channel with the objective of creating content that young me, young Jeff, would have wanted to subscribe to when he was still in college. When he was super stressed out, when he was super lost trying to find that first summer internship in his junior year, convinced that if he didn't find one, the rest of his life would be negatively impacted, which by the way, it's totally not the case. So getting to 1,000 subscribers kind of shows me that, hey, I'm kind of on the right track here. So yeah, thank you. That's awesome. Okay, enough sentimental stuff and onto the Q&A. As usual, because I value your time, I've added timestamps to all the questions that I'll be answering in this video, so feel free to skip around to the topics that interest you the most. Alright, starting off with question number 1 with the most votes in the Facebook group. What was the toughest interview question you've ever received or ever given? So I think thanks to this poll, I recently made a video on the hardest interview question I've ever received, so check that out. But regarding the hardest interview question I've ever given, I actually haven't interviewed anyone in a while. I don't think I've interviewed anyone since COVID started, but if I remember correctly, the harder questions I like to ask usually involve something around like ethics or principles, since those never usually have a straightforward answer. Questions that usually ask about an ethical dilemma is usually very telling about you as a person for the interviewer. For example, I think I used to ask a question like, tell me about a time when you disagreed with a decision that has already been made. So there's several layers to this question, right? Number one, since a decision has been made, it's probably usually coming from someone up top. And I would like to know why you disagreed with that. Was it more executional, i.e. you were lazy, or was it more like ethical related, or ethics related, right? Was it against what you stood for? Number two, if you did disagree with it, how'd you go about resolving it? Did you just suck it up? Or did you actually do something about it, and was it done in a professional way? So I think that's a pretty hard question. It's probably one of the harder ones I would have asked. Moving on to question number 2 with the second most votes. Would you be able to pinpoint the one career decision that changed the trajectory of your life? So I've actually been with Google 4 years now, and I really like my job here. So it might seem like the obvious answer that the decision to apply or to join would be that moment that changed the trajectory of my professional life. But I actually wouldn't say that's the case. I would actually say the moment I decided to go all in on management consulting when I was still a junior in college, that was probably the moment that determined where my professional path would lead to. And the reason for that, I think, is because the 2 years in management consulting gave me the opportunity to work on such a diverse set of projects in so many different industries that I was able to sort of find one that I was super interested in. And there was this one project where I slightly touched on Google products and I thought, wow, that seems really interesting. And so I decided to learn more. AKA, I had no idea what I really wanted to do, but working in management consulting allowed me to find the ad tech industry, and that really sparked my interest. Oh, and also because there's so many case interview style questions throughout the Google interview process, I probably would not have passed the Google interviews had I not worked for 2 years in the management consulting industry. Okay, and the next question coming from Tammy Lay. How do you present the best version of yourself without betraying who you really are / being fake? So this is a really good question. I think I asked a version of this question like years ago, and the answer I got was something along the lines of, oh, just be yourself, bro. Clearly not very useful. But I do want to maintain that you want to be as genuine as possible in all your interviews, because even if you do get a job by being quote unquote fake, you might really not like the company culture. For example, I think L'Oreal is famous for having a company culture where they promote internal competition so they can push out better products. For example, WeChat is actually a very good example of this. In Tencent, the WeChat and QQ teams competed with each other to come up with a better product, and WeChat won, right? And a superior product was thus born. But for someone like me who do not like conflict and like to work well with others, I probably would not have worked well under those circumstances. So how do you present the best version of yourself without being fake? Honestly, I'd say go ask your 3 closest friends to tell you, number 1, the thing they like the most about you, and number 2, the thing they dislike the most about you. And if they're good friends, they should be able to tell you without hurting your feelings. In the interview, you want to highlight the likable character traits as much as possible while keeping the not so likable ones hidden. I wouldn't say this is being fake, it's more like playing to your advantage. For example, a good buddy of mine would probably tell me that I'm humorous, which is good, but at the same time, I can be super stubborn if my mind has been made up. So in the interview, for example, I would try to build rapport as much as I can with the interviewer by making witty, appropriate jokes. At the same time, being mindful of the fact that I shouldn't show my inflexible, stubborn side unless they ask me what my greatest weakness is or something along those lines. Cool. And turning to questions on Instagram for a quick second. Question number 4, coming from both my buddy James and my colleague Sherry. Would you still be my friend if you became a famous YouTuber? No. Such trolls, man. Question number 5 from Tina, who was actually my pod mate when I was still in the sales team based in Hong Kong. She asks, has the Google logo been approved from a marketing and PR perspective? Honestly, no. I probably should have asked, but since I'm not monetizing from YouTube, I thought it'd be okay. But now you bring it up, I should probably check with the PR team. But I have been saying good things about Google, right? I probably won't get into trouble for being on YouTube. Would I? By the way, I think Tina recently started her channel and she uploaded a video on how to make egg tarts, which is super delicious. So check that out. Moving on to question number 6 from WYM_Sunny with a 5. Why Shanghai office and not the Hong Kong office? So my first role with Google in the sales team was actually based in Hong Kong when Tina was still my pod mate and she used to make fun of my horrendous Cantonese. Well, actually everyone did. But that's not why I left. It wasn't until I joined the product marketing team that I moved to Shanghai, and there are 2 main reasons for this. Number 1, I cover Greater China app developers, and since most of them are in China, I thought moving to Shanghai would help me become closer to the market. And number 2, most of the Greater China marketing team is based out of Shanghai, so I wanted to be closer to my teammates over there. I moved to Shanghai 2 years ago and it's been great. I love both cities. If you've never been to these 2 places before, Shanghai and Hong Kong, I'd highly recommend you come, probably after the whole COVID situation. And if you do, let me know, hit me up. I'll definitely be happy to bring you out to Xiaolongbao in Shanghai and Dim Sum in Hong Kong. And question number 7 from Email God, aka Jasmine, who I work very closely with. She's in the sales team. Will you throw away your Lululemon pants? No, the pants are great. They're super comfortable. Not throwing them away. To give everyone else some background, I bought these bright yellow Lululemon pants on sale. Super comfortable. And some of my less supportive friends, aka Jasmine, feel that they look like a disaster on me. Apparently it's because I have like yellowish tinted skin and wearing something bright yellow just simply does not match. But the full retail price for those pants are something ridiculous like $80, $90 and it was on sale for like 25 or 30 bucks. I'm cheap, I'm a super value shopper, so if it's good stuff and it's comfortable, I'm gonna buy it, I'm gonna wear it. So yeah, back to more serious topics with question number 8 from Logically Hank. What are your long-term career goals and how do you plan to achieve them? Long-term career goals, obviously, work at Google. I never leave my team, my manager and director. All jokes aside though, I do really enjoy my current role in the product marketing team. I have amazing teammates, I love my manager, and I have a super supportive director. And I really like working in the B2B app developer marketing space. For those of you unfamiliar with the topic, B2B marketing is very different than that of B2C marketing because you're marketing to businesses rather than to consumers. And B2B marketing in China is very different from B2B marketing for the rest of the world due to the limitations that we face here. But I think the challenge is really part of the fun, right? I get to try out new things, new strategies, see what works, what doesn't, and see what learnings we can get from all of that. So to answer your question, Hank, I'm not exactly sure by how many years you mean by long term, but I think in the next 5 years, I'll be staying right here in B2B marketing since it's very fast paced and there's still so much more for me to learn. Back to questions from the Facebook group. Question number 9 coming from Betty Wu. How do you increase your chances of being headhunted? So I'm going to assume you're asking from the perspective of a fresh grad or young working professional. I would say the main thing to get right is to make sure your LinkedIn profile is searchable and optimized. Many of my recruiter and headhunter friends use a set of predetermined filters on LinkedIn to narrow down a prospective candidate list. For example, a recruiter for Procter & Gamble might set a filter of 4 to 6 years of working experiences, must have worked at another consumer packaged good firm such as Unilever, their biggest competitor, for example, and must have supply chain management, that keyword, in their bio somewhere. So as you can see, you want to make sure your LinkedIn bio is very targeted and focused rather than being too broad and trying to appeal to all industries. Closing it out with question number 10 from Tu Ying. How do you maintain productivity, for example, manage stress and/or energy, keep generating insights on a regular basis? I can't stress this enough, but coffee. In addition to having a delicious Oatly latte addiction, I would say having a schedule that you adhere to definitely helps. My job hours at Google is fairly consistent, so I can plan around that. I usually shoot my videos on Saturdays, so I can give myself more time to edit on Sundays, Monday, and Tuesday, and I upload the video by Wednesday. And by Thursday, I'm already starting the script for the next video, and the cycle continues. As long as I'm adhering to that schedule, I know that I'm on top of my stuff for the week. That brings us to the end of this 1K Q&A. Thank you if you have watched this far. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. By the way, I read all your comments, and I think I respond to all of them too. Even those from my super duper supportive colleagues that are sometimes a little bit too supportive. 1,000 subscribers, that's still kind of crazy for me to wrap my head around, so thank you again if you have subscribed, and if you haven't, please consider doing so. See you on the next video, and in the meantime, have a great one.